beginning of 2020 was full of joy and love. However, it will be remembered as one of the worst years in the 21st century.
In here with the outbreak of a mystery virus in China.
Mystery virus started here in the city of Wuhan. Chinese authorities pinpointing its source to this
pneumonia has hit central China's Wuhan city. Authorities have reported 27 cases in total, 7 of which are critical.
The mysterious new pneumonia virus that sickened dozens of people in the Chinese city of Wuhan has been confirmed in Thailand.
Health Minister has confirmed that 2 cases have been identified.
The deadly coronavirus officially hitting the U.S. Here's what we know. A Washington state resident fell ill after returning from Wuhan, China, where the outbreak began. Officials now say more than 400 people have been sickened and 9 people have died. The World Health Organization is holding an emergency meeting
now
right
is not the time. That's a bit too early to consider that this event is a public health emergency of international
This was the first country in Europe to confirm cases of coronavirus. Now it's the first to record a fatality linked to the outbreak.
Coronavirus with 2 cities in China now on lockdown.
从来没见过这种架势啊，这种症。
The respiratory disease, which causes pneumonia-like symptoms, has infected almost 84,000 people in more than 50 countries. And although the vast majority of cases remain in China, the virus is now spreading faster outside that country. The World Health Organization says most, if not all, countries should expect outbreaks.
Emphasize that the risk to the American public currently is low.
The most active hotspot right now is Italy. Nearly 200 people there have died in just the last 24 hours.
From the outbreak of coronavirus in Italy has surged by 919 in a single day. That is the highest daily increase recorded anywhere.
Disappear. One day it's like a miracle, it will disappear.
Coronavirus crisis, some truly staggering numbers. More than 50,000 new cases in the U.S. in a single day, the most yet. And worldwide, there have been 6 million new cases in just the past month.
This is not an act of God that we're looking at. It's an act of what society actually does.
How did all this happen? I believe the initial stage of the world response plays a major factor. Although there were many countries involved in taking measures in containing the virus, but the WHO and the Chinese PRC government were the 2 dominant trying to contain the virus.
政府有关部门的公布的这个信息每天及时。
The relevant Chinese government departments have released relevant information in a timely manner every day. Everyone can see it clearly. Regarding issues related to international public health security, I think it is the WHO and experts in epidemiology or disease control who are the most qualified to comment, rather than individual politicians telling only lies.
It appears that the cases have stopped, new cases have stopped. The market was temporarily closed. And we can see that there is no clear evidence of sustained human-to-human transmission. The sheer speed of the response in China, the quality of the closure of the hospital, the market, the extremely rapid investigation shows the increase in capacity that China has acquired.
WHO later put out a statement that the preliminary investigations conducted by the Chinese authority had found no clear evidence of human-to-human transmission.
The first report came out from Reuters. They sent out a news alert that the WHO said that there was limited human-to-human transmission. So I quickly sent an email to Geneva saying, can you confirm this? And started writing the story. That the WHO had identified this as a virus that can spread easily among humans. And then they said, they sent me an email and to say, it was a misunderstanding. the preliminary investigations conducted by the authorities have found no clear evidence of human-to-human transmission. There has been no evidence of limited human-to-human transmission.
So far with the current virus, we have limited human-to-human transmission.
That was my first press conference I've ever done. I presented the situation as I understood it and as we understood it from the data and as it relates to the guidance that we want to put out. And so when you have a respiratory pathogen, of course there would be human-to-human transmission. It's just where is that happening and what is the extent?
Was it an excuse or a misinformation? We don't know.
We have public discussion about the information that we have. We also have very direct conversations with countries privately, which are very strong in the sense of the information that we need. But we are at the United Nations Organization on Health, and we have a diplomacy that we use because this is really important that we work with all member states. We work with everyone everywhere. Every day we would go back and we would ask for more information and we would receive information every day. Was it enough every single day? No, but I could say that for every country that we've dealt with, in every outbreak that we have dealt with.
From here, we know a misinformation had occurred. While not understanding the full extent of the viruses, WHO continues to send out guidelines that underestimate the seriousness of the virus to the rest of the world. Countries such as Thailand have taken harder measures in dealing with the virus.
China said that there is no evidence that the disease has human-to-human transmission. But we all know very well that for the pneumonias, usually there will be some human-to-human transmission. So that is what we prepare for.
A foreign woman who referred to herself as a sovereign and was caught not wearing a mask at Shunfu Market has been charged.
This woman apparently being taken against her will by China's newly deployed quarantine squad.
Many Asian countries began to take harder measures beyond the WHO standards, and they were able to slow down the spread during the initial stage.
The U.S. Centers for Disease Control, the CDC, on Monday confirmed that passengers traveling from China will now be funneled through 11 U.S. airports, best equipped to screen passengers for the novel coronavirus. That's up from 7 airports. According to new restrictions put in place over the weekend, Chinese travelers originating in the People's Republic, even those connecting through a third country, would be denied entry to the U.S.
While many nations, including the United States, began to take harder measures beyond WHO standards, WHO responded differently. WHO began criticizing those countries taking harder measures.
There is no reason for measures that unnecessarily interfere with international travel and trade. We call on all countries to implement decisions that are evidence-based and consistent. WHO stands ready to provide advice to any country that's considering which measures to take.
As you know, as soon as the virus started, the identification of the pathogen was a record time.
This is true, but early warning was being ignored by the Chinese official.
造成不良社会影响。公安机关经调查核实，已经传唤8名违法人员，并依法进行了处理。
Dr. Li Wenliang was one out of the 8 whistleblowers. He was trying to warn his friend over a SARS-like symptoms disease around Wuhan city. He posted everything on Weibo. While he was trying to warn his friend and families, he was taken by police into custody over the crime of spreading rumor. He later tested positive at the end of January.
With Lee coughing too much and breathing too poorly to speak by phone, we asked Lee by text, "How did you feel when this happened?" "I felt a little afraid I would be detained, afraid my family would worry," Lee responded. He agreed to sign this document, admitting to spreading rumors online and severely disrupting social order. It reads, "We want you to cooperate with the police and listen to our reminder and stop the illegal act. Can you do that?" Lee answered, "Yes, I can."
To the Chinese government, it was not the first time dealing with a novel coronavirus. Back in 2002 to 2003, another respiratory disease was spreading in the Guangdong province. It was not found until 3 months later. The Hong Kong scientists began to discover patients coming from inland China with an unknown respiratory disease, and it soon spread all across the world. This epidemic really had shown the world how the PRC government trying to hide the truth over the fear in trade restriction and international sanctions. It later took 8 months to fully contain the viruses.
But not only that, the pathogen was sequenced and the genome was shared immediately.
It took the government official at least 17 days to release the genome. But it is true that many records were made over containing this virus, but it could have been better. By the time WHO began to shift its focus to the rest of the world, it is already too late. By then, the golden period to contain the virus had long gone.
And by the way, the virus, they're working hard. Looks like by April, in theory, when it gets a little warmer, it miraculously...
Drone footage showed images of mass cremations, fires burning, and bodies being carried on wooden planks.
There really was no one to blame for the virus, but a combination of mistakes made by our country, especially towards the WHO and the PRC government, had slowed and limited many countries' response to the virus during the early stage, which put the world at a greater danger.
在2月9号入住雷神山医院到今天为止的